Hi everyone. So the area of topic today we're going to be covering is Amapiano's global emergence, and the business case that we were looking at is selecting an artist and predicting where they'll be in a year, and we'll build a marketing plan around that genre. So what is Amapiano? So essentially, it's a genre style of house music that emerged in South Africa in 2012. And it's recently been gaining some traction, as you can tell by Google Trends on the top right-hand side over the last 2 years. It's a hybrid of deep house music, deep house, jazz, and lounge music, characterized by synths and percussion-based, and it's distinguished by high-pitched piano melodies, low tempos, 90s South African house rhythms, and percussions. So the Amapiano audience is tastemakers, artistic young audience, artistic young adults who like front-running cultural trends. From a demographic perspective, they're around about 18 to 25, 18 to 34 rather, and they're male and female skewed, male skewed 56 to 43, with interests around SoundCloud, art design, and photography. And their brands of interest are around Nike, Adidas, Apple, and Gucci. Over to David to do a deep dive into our dashboard.
Thanks, Jimmy. So in order to gain a better perspective to what's happening around Amapiano all over the world, we extracted some data from Spotify API, from Chartmetric, and we put them together in Google Data Studio to two dashboards. So you can see the first one here. We selected 10 top Amapiano artists based on Chartmetric's CPP ranking, and we excluded South African territory. That is important. And what you can see here is analysis based on Spotify monthly listeners. You can see some diagrams showing some growth cities on the timeline as well, and some market proportions per the 10 top artists. On the second dashboard, which you can see now, we can see some Spotify editorial playlist analysis. We are picking Spotify editorials because they are arguably the most important to measure. And based on these data, which we aggregated for the top 10 artists, we can see some interesting playlists where emerging artists can kind of follow the leaders in the genre. And putting together all the data on the next slide, we can see some top growth cities like Sao Paulo, Atlanta, London, and some top playlists where you should be thinking about pitching your music into if you are Amapiano artists like African Heat or Amapiano Grooves. And talking about emerging artists, Andra will take it over from here.
Thank you very much, David. Hello, everyone. The emerging artist that we're looking at today is Tyla, who's got 38K monthly listeners on Spotify, top locations being London, Nairobi, Amsterdam, Paris, and Los Angeles. Our scope is to elevate her to the level of similar emerging artist Amos, who's got 122K monthly listeners on Spotify from the same top locations. Okay, we have also conducted an Instagram analysis based on the top 10 Amapiano artists' Instagram profiles in order to inform the content strategy that Tyla should follow in order to boost her numbers. Together, we have put together a marketing plan of 4 components based on our global Amapiano analysis, which are festivals, press, radio, and brands, which have been selected based on our analysis of the top 10 artists and looking at the steps that they have followed in their careers. Back to you, Jimmy.
Thank you. So from an Amapiano audience perspective, where they will be in 2022, we don't expect their age or demo to change much. They'll still very much remain males 25 to 34. Their location, however, we will see growth areas within London, New York, Amsterdam, and Sao Paulo. Their primary audiences will continue to reside in Instagram. We'll also see growth areas around TikTok as their new upcoming channels, while YouTube will continue to drive some discovery. So essentially, to wrap things up, the key takeaway points here were the Amapiano audience are essentially taste-making young adults who like front-running cultural trends. The Amapiano dashboard itself helps us to pull learnings from growth cities around London, New York, Lagos, Atlanta, and Sao Paulo. And the prominent identified playlists include African heat, and chasing sunsets. From an emerging Amapiano's perspective for marketing, we identified the opportunities based on growth cities. So in the case of Tyler, it was press, radio, festivals, and brands. And by leveraging the social media base, so in the case of Tyler, that was YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you very much for your time today.
Amazing timing, guys. That was excellent. Judges, if you have any questions, I'll have you raise your hand just so we can keep from talking over each other, and then we'll take a few minutes for questions.
I'm looking for the hand, raise the hand.
Well, that's if it's not clear, that's fine. There's only I think we're still missing one judge, so you can just go ahead and ask your questions.
Yeah, so the first of all, I had no idea this genre even existed. So and it's quite significant. A couple of questions around that. One, are the artists that are the top 10 in that genre, are they signed artists, or is this still emerging that they're unsigned?
I can take that. So most of them, about 7 of them, are already signed. Shasha, for example, is signed to DJ Mafarisa's label, who is very prominent in the Amapiano scene in South Africa. Mass Music, for example, he is, even though he is a prominent artist in the genre, he's still independent.
And I'll just add on to that. DJ Maphorisa is signed to Sony. Who's also a very prominent artist, distributes through Orchard, but globally their profiles are quite established. For example, Maphorisa has produced for Chris Brown. Usiswa has featured with Beyonce. So these are artists, at least 3 or 4 of them have significant global profiles from the sort of African perspective.
And so what's your prediction where this genre is going to go? Is it going to be the next big thing?
Well, based on what we've seen so far, the numbers are indicating it that way. So we've seen significant growth over the last 2 years to kind of, because it essentially started in 2012, but the last 2 years in particular is where you saw the growth come into play. So we suspect, obviously, once the current situation in the world relaxes and we're able to go to festivals, that that emerging genre will actually start to begin to, in theory, you should start to see it take off again.
Yeah, and just to add to that, the prediction is that way because it's starting to get picked up by major Afrobeats artists like Davido, Niniola, Panto Ranking, who have made Amapiano inspired tracks. And considering sort of the standing of these artists in the global scene, we're seeing more and more Nigerian artists picking it up. So the assumption is that it might actually take the route of Afrobeats